Hello everyone, my name is Aparna Sood and welcome to my YouTube channel. Now in this video, I'll be explaining a very simple concept of psychology that weapon focus effect has something to do with the eyewitness memory. As you can see on my front slide, there's a woman who is trying to tell the officer, oh, something happened. It looks like there's an accident. So she's trying to recall everything. So how she's recalling? Eyewitness memory. And on the left, you can see there's a weapon focus because everything else is blurred. It's just the gun that is visible. Let's see how that happens. Now, let us start with what is eyewitness memory. I should tell you that in most of the judicial cases or police custodies, many people are just like, is there an eyewitness? Oh, this is the eyewitness. And that person's testimony is the basis of the judgment. I don't get it because eyewitness memories are not really that reliable. What if the person don't even remember? Let's see what's that, and we'll come to this point later on. Now, eyewitness memory is the episodic memory of a person. What is episodic memory? Episodic memory is the memory that a human being has for a particular event that happened in the past. Now, in that episodic memory, they remember the time, when it happened, how it happened, what happened, where it happened. So this is related to a particular specified event. Now, this particular memory is stored in your hippocampus, and this is a long-term memory. So, usually when we say eyewitness memory, it is related to particular events, mostly dramatic events. According to APA 2020, eyewitness memory is an individual's recollection of an event, often a crime or accident of some kind that he or she personally saw or experienced. Makes sense, right? If you haven't personally saw it or experienced it, it's not eyewitness memory. As I have explained on my slide as well, you can see that there is an outside stimuli. For that, your brain does the encoding, and when you're recollecting, there's a retrieval of that memory. Now, let us see what is weapon focus effect. A little bit is clear from the wording as well that there is something to do with a weapon and there is a focus on it. What happens is whenever there is a weapon in a particular situation, in a particular, event, the person's attention is always channelized, concentrated on the weapon. They don't see anything else in the vicinity. Just imagine like you are in a party or maybe sitting in your class and suddenly someone pulls up a revolver or a knife or something like that. So it's pretty much obvious that all your attention will go to that particular weapon. You don't care what's happening in the class, you don't care how the other people are responding, your attention goes to the weapon. And that is what weapon focus effect says, that whenever there is a weapon in the vicinity in a situation, the attention of the individual channelizes to the weapon and not anything else that is happening. That is why eyewitness memory is related to it. According to APA, weapon focus is the tendency for the eyewitnesses to focus their attention on any weapon present at the scene of the crime, thereby limiting their ability to remember other details. Just because they are not focusing on anything else, they don't remember what else happened. That's why, for example, in a bank robbery or something like that, they don't really remember the face of the person because their attention was on the gun or maybe the knife or something like that. So, weapon focus effect, as is shown in the slide as well, it distracts the witness. Therefore, when they're trying to recall, they can't do it because they didn't see everything properly. Their focus was undivided towards the weapon. Now, you must be thinking it's really easy, right? It's common sense, understood easily. No, there are many theories that are actually explaining the weapon focus on eyewitness memory effect. First theory is the arousal hypothesis. Now, this theory is given by Loftus 1980 and Peter 1988, and it says that Whenever there is a weapon in the vicinity, there is a arousal in the witness that channelizes the attention of the witness towards the weapons. So this theory says because of the weapon, the witness experiences a arousal, and because of that arousal, the attention is always channelized towards that source of arousal, and that is the weapon. Second theory is threat superiority effect, given by Fox 2006 and Eastwood 2001. Now, in this particular effect, they say that whenever there is a threat in a particular place, in a particular vicinity or event, we give superiority to that particular thing, in comparison to the neutral targets. For example, you see a gun and there's a chair. Obviously, your, attention will be towards the threat that is going to harm you. That is the weapon. You don't care about the chair. If there is a clown and if there is a gangster, your attention will be towards the gangster because that is a threat to you. So this theory says that we always, have a bias towards looking and giving attention to the threats in accordance to the neutral targets. Then we have unusual objects hypothesis given by Shaw and Skolnick 1994 and Mitchell and colleagues 1998. Now, this is something different because they said it's not about the threat targets or the neutral targets. Whenever a person observes something unusual, so their attention just goes to it. They're like, for example, you see a joker in your house, you don't expect it, it is unusual, you look at it. They say if you see anything that is like, unusual, for example, in your class, you see a big, tent or something, you'll be like, what? So always, if there is something unusual happening, your attention will be channelized towards that. And all these theories are proving the influence of weapon focus on eyewitness memory. Because there is a weapon in the vicinity, your focus is channelized towards the weapon, and thus your eyewitness memory is thwarted a bit. That's why you cannot rely on it, because when your focus was on the weapon, you don't remember what happened otherwise in that particular situation. You don't know what else was going on because your attention was channelized towards the weapon. That's why I said in the beginning that eyewitness memory is not reliable in particular crime scenes or dramatic events. Now, White and Chase is a law firm, international law firm based in New York. In 2012, in their report, they said that 75% of the cases were overturned because of wrongful convictions because the eyewitnesses couldn't give the right identifications. Now, there are so many things that happens, just recollect yourself. If somebody asks you to like recall an event and you don't really remember it, sometimes you cook up the story just to make the connections so that it makes sense. Like when we wake up and there is a dream, we make connections just to make sense of it. Similarly, when we have an eyewitness memory and we don't know all the pieces, we try to fill in with the kind of details that we think make sense. Like, there are so many studies about cross-racial identification difficulties. There was a study in which a woman was asked, like, there were like white people and there were black people, and she was asked, like, who was the person who did the robbery? And her bias was towards the black people. Like, what was that? It's just like there are so many biases that you cannot really rely on the eyewitness testimony. So that's why this is the influence of weapon focus on eyewitness memory. Here are some of the references that I just, draw up. You can just go and look at them. It will really help you understand it better. Thank you very much. I hope you liked it. And if you liked it, like, subscribe, and I'll come up with another video very soon.